Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, readers of all persuasions. It is I, Gayla, and welcome back to Book Uncorked and Caffeinated. It is Sunday morning. It's June 8th. I am loving having an easy day, and my house is clean and things are happening. So I'm so happy to sit here with you today. I'm having my coffee as usual. I'm drinking, I can see it, my kitchen is right there, autumn maple coffee from Trader Joe's with my regular brown sugar creamer. Espresso before Prosecco was the cup featured today. And so I'm excited to talk about today's book review, which is I think is really a first for me. Let me get a sip. Let me get started. I just love that creamer. So today I'm doing an isolated book review. So usually with my monthly reads, I talk about all the books that I've read, and I might give you maybe an overview of the books a little bit more extended than I do others. But I decided that I wanted to do an isolated book review on a particular author. And so today's book review is on Tati Richardson's Losing Sight. This book was so good. So let's go back a little bit. So this book came out in February 2025. And so she was a new author to me, didn't really know much about her. Didn't realize I had recognized some of her books, but we'll get there in a second. So new author to me. So I was like, oh, this isn't her first book. Let me see what else she's written. So she wrote The Builder, which I think was her first novel. And so I said, oh, let me read that and see, what her writing style is, how she hook you, how her romantic novels are, and things of that nature. And I thoroughly enjoyed the book. And I'm glad I did, because it gave me more incentive and more enthusiasm to read this book. So with this book, it is, let me read a little bit of the back. It says, in this high heat and hilarious rom-com that harkens to the golden age of Black romance, celebrated novelist Tati Richardson proves life is sweeter after age 40 and gives readers of all ages a reason to believe in second chances. And so that's what really hooked me, being a woman plus 40, being a woman of size, being a Black woman, being educated, wear glasses, all of the things. It was really, truly a treat to see all of those things in one place representing women. So I went into this book. It was a highly anticipated read for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. If I had to give it like a score, and I don't like scoring books, I would give this a 4.75. Dare I say a 5 for me, because there were certain things in there that really spoke to my heart, being all of those things. And so this was a really good book. Her name was Tanika Nikki Ryan, and she was a sportscaster at the top of her game, all the things. And she started flubbing her lines. And they can't use your Black, they can't use your big, they can't use all of those things. So they used her flubbing her lines to put her in the background and start reporting on, like, not the big national games like football and basketball. They had her doing a little mediocre stuff like hometown stuff and things of that nature. So she had a really good girlfriend. I think her name was Jackie, who had a cousin, Gideon, who was an ophthalmologist, deals with your eyes. And she said, just go see my cousin, and didn't realize this was the cousin that she tried to hook her up with a couple of years ago. So Gideon was this eye doctor. He lost his wife a couple of years ago, but he has this practice that is semi on the brink of like going out of business, because it's just, what it is, and so she hooked him up, and she thanked him on the air, once she started to see better. And they were like, oh, let's start going to his practice. And then his practice began to boom. In the middle of all of that, they started their love story. So this has a little bit of magical realism in it, which is a little different from me, but it wasn't super overt. So what happened with these glasses is she went to go get an eye exam, all the things, and he sent her to this room to pick out these glasses. In the room, she meets this woman. When you read on, you later know that this woman was the representation of his wife. And she gave her these specific glasses. They weren't on the rack. They couldn't even find a code to charge her, any of those things. But she can really see people's auras, and how they were good people or bad people, and how her and Gideon would actually come to light, almost kind of giving both of them permission. And so she said to Gideon one day, "Oh, I thank your assistant, for helping pick out the glasses." And Gideon was like, "What are you talking about?" And then later on, Gideon also had his experience with his wife telling him, "Move forward." This was such a great love story. And on the front, it says a romantic comedy, and it really was. But it was a great story to see middle-aged people like be their authentic selves and even grow, within and the things, not grow, but the changes that happen to you with growth, physically, emotionally, and mentally. She was going through a lot. She was having to deal with being an older person in the industry that only wanted eye candy. She had to deal with being a brown person. She had to deal with, her body changing as she gets older. And so it ended really well for her, because what came out of it is that she got her job back and all the things, but she kind of put her foot down, like, this is what I want, this is what you're gonna do, this is what I need, and you're not gonna treat me like crap. But she also got a man out of it. Her and Gideon pretty much, decided to be with one another as older people, and that was good to see. This was a great representation of who I am as a person, and I think that's why I enjoyed it as much as I did. So it felt good to be seen, literally, pun intended or not. It felt good to be seen, and also, to be represented in a way that I haven't seen in a very long time, or it's becoming a thing now. Like when I was in my 20s, this wouldn't have existed. So I'm glad I'm in a place and in a world that kind of accepts it. And we still have to fight, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely good to be seen in, the reading space. She also writes under the pen name T.M. Richardson, which is her steamy books. And I didn't realize that was her. I wanted to read the book. I think it's called The Oath, The Offer, and The Opportunity. And so I didn't realize that was her until I started like reading more about her. And then I also was watching Shaughnessy one day, and she mentioned that she heard that Tati's gonna be, this is kind of like a series, and it's gonna be about the 5 senses in general. And so that would be good, like sight, hearing, smell, taste, all of those things. And it would be interesting if she can do something dealing with like perimenopause or menopause. Tati, consider that, please, because we need to have more of that representation, because your girl be going through. You know how people pack their keys, their car, the keys, their phone, and their wallet? I pack keys, phone, wallet, and fan. But we're not going to go on that tangent. Anywho, this was a great read to start off the month. I don't know if I mentioned it in this video as of yet, but I'm doing 100 pages a day challenge for June, and this is the book I started off with. So this was a great start to the month. I've read 2 books this week, actually 3 books this week, but this was the first of that challenge. So I'm looking forward to more reads from this author and more reads about representation of women who look like me, because it's true. We are out here in the world living and existing and having the best time of our lives, and still wanting people to recognize who we are outside of our circles. So yes, Losing Sight, Tati Richardson, all good. Enjoy this Sunday. I know I am. I'm probably gonna start another book, a fresh book, for today to get my 100 pages in, and just chill, drink my coffee, and do all of the things. But I want you to do all the things. Like, comment, subscribe, share, comment, subscribe, comment, subscribe, and do all the things. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.